Hi, how is everyone? I'm going to give YouTube a couple of moments. I have to tell you, before you go live on YouTube, it takes a thumbnail, like a snapshot of you for the video, and it wasn't working, and it did not let me proof it before this started. So I'm a little nervous as to what that thumbnail looks like. Alas, I digress. Just giving everyone a couple of minutes to jump on. If you are watching live, fabulous. Don't forget to like the video and to subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on a replay, yay, thank you. Make sure you comment. I check back and look at those comments and answer them. I am Coach Karen. I am a private coach here at The Watering Mouth. I coach my clients to lose weight with ease in my coaching program. I am a life and weight coach. I'm also a registered dietitian. I am a mother of 3. I wear many, many hats. I'm just putting right in there now how to find me for private coaching. And I would be remiss if I did not let you know that those amazing 21-day challenges that Cheri puts out are currently on sale. So it only happens once in a while, and the doors will close soon. And I want to say very soon, the next couple days. So if you are interested in getting some of those challenges, the past challenges, this is the link. I'm putting it out there right now. Be sure to go and get them. So some of them are up to half off. They come with amazing recipes, some mindset stuff in the newer ones. It really, really is great. So I recommend that if you are interested. We are going over Atomic Habits today. So whether or not you read it, glad you're here. Will you let me know if you can hear me and see me? Will you just let me know maybe where you are watching from? Say hi. I love all the comments, so make sure to be commenting throughout this. Make sure to interact with me. You'll get out of it what you put into it. I want to answer all of your questions. I want to make this perfect for you in every way I can. Not getting any messages, so yay! Hi there from Australia. Yay! My friend's son is headed there for college. Fingers crossed. In the next couple of days. So yay, I love it. One of the places I haven't visited, but I definitely want to. So have you read Atomic Habits? If you haven't read it, it's totally okay. It's a great book. It's a great book about mindset and creating new habits and letting go of old habits. I was reviewing food books, Dr. Furman books on my book club. But I really love the mindset part, and I wanted to dive into that because without the mindset, without knowing how to change habits, you can read all the books about what to eat, and sometimes it just doesn't come to fruition in your life, right? So tell me, first of all, as I start to talk, what types of habits are you thinking of creating in your life? It is almost New Year's. So a lot of people make New Year's resolutions, and I am making my goals for next year. I like to make impossible goals, and I like to teach my clients to make these impossible goals also. And you make this really huge goal, right? And you kind of release the pressure to like get it 100%, and you go after it like wholeheartedly, and you do, 25 fails a quarter, and you just, go all at it. And it's not about that end goal. It's about who you become in the process. So I know a lot of people make goals based on health, based on weight loss. And so I think this book is coming at a really, really good time with the new year. So anyone else out there, where are you from? I'm from Florida, and it is 8:20 p.m. here. It was a gorgeous evening, and it's December, right? It's a pretty great month. In the northeastern part of the United States, I know they had a big storm yesterday. I've been seeing pictures from New York, and there's snow, and it looks fabulous. I think it's beautiful when it snows. It's like a winter wonderland. Okay, so he talks about breaking a bad habit is like uprooting a large oak tree, and creating a good habit is like cultivating a small little sapling. So the way I took that is a couple of different ways, but I'm going to explain it to you in one way. And that is, the care that it takes for a huge oak tree is next to nothing, right? And the care that it takes for a small sapling is like you're constantly doing the care, right? So that's one way of looking at it. And then he says it's like uprooting a large oak tree. Like, could you imagine uprooting a large oak tree? I just can't, first of all, you couldn't physically do it. But, even with a machine, the amount of effort that it would take to do that. So, and then creating a good habit is like cultivating and taking care of this small little sapling. It's like planting a garden and watching it grow and creating it and creating it and creating it. And over time, of course, it grows into that beautiful oak tree. So, one of the big takeaways, I think, from this book is that small changes really, really add up over time. So they seem like they are unimportant at first, but they are what create lasting change. He talks about if you make a 1% change a day over a year, that means you're 30% better. So you get 1% better daily. So health-wise, right? What could you do health-wise that would improve your health by 1% every day? Could you add a vegetable at dinner? Could you take away a processed food? Could you add a fruit? Maybe it's drink a glass of water. Maybe it's add mushrooms one mushroom to your dinner meal. So it's just those 1% better adds up over time. Maybe that's cutting your coffee creamer in your coffee if you drink coffee. If you're currently drinking coffee, it's going to decaf, right? Instead of if you drink 4 cups of coffee, go to 3. Like, so often we make these goals and we're like, well, I'm currently drinking 8 cups of coffee a day, but I'm going to stop drinking coffee altogether. And you try to quit cold turkey and you find it to be nearly impossible. What he's saying is take those little goals because they add up. Okay, I need to stop drinking milk in my coffee. Yeah, right? And that's like a little goal. So like, what does that look like? Like, are you having cow's milk and are you having cream? Okay, so if you're having cream, maybe that looks like going to half and half, or maybe to whole milk. And if you're drinking whole milk, maybe it means to go to 2% milk. If you're at 2% milk, maybe it's 1% or skim, or maybe it's powdered skim milk. And then if that's where you're at, maybe you go black from there. Or maybe you switch from coffee creamer, cow's coffee creamer, to like oat milk coffee creamer, right? And you try that. I know that when I first went plant-based and cut dairy out completely, this was a little while ago, not to date myself, but it was a while ago. And we didn't have all those great coffee creamers that they have now. So we had I think basically it was the soy milk that you would pour in and it would almost curdle. It was just not pleasant. So I wasn't quite ready to give up coffee at that time. So I just decided I would drink coffee black. So I went from, I used to use powdered non-fat milk because I felt like it was healthier. And then I just went to black, right? And that was my step. And then eventually I cut back on the coffee. And then I eventually started doing more decaf than regular. So then I was 100% decaf. And then from there, I started using, what's it called? Ticino. It's like an herbal kind of coffee. And then, that was my path of 1% steps. So, who are you and who could you be over a year with these 1% changes, right? Can you imagine how you could get 37% better over a year by doing this? And it wouldn't take much effort at all. So he talks also about making new habits, right? Make it obvious, the new habit, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. So how can you make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying? Well, obvious could be if you need to drink more water, then I always have a glass of water by my computer. This has gone astray in the past because, truth be told, my computer has gone swimming a couple of times. So what I would recommend if you do that is to put a lid on your cup. But you could put a glass of water by your computer. You can always have these beautiful pictures. Have a picture by your nightstand. When you wake up in the morning, they're like so amazing for your body first thing in the morning to have a cup or two of water, right? Flush everything out first thing in the morning. You're dehydrated when you wake up from sleeping, you drink the water. You could leave a bottle of water filled by your front door, if that's the door that you leave, or by your garage door, if that's the door that you go out of. You can always have like a glass of water or a water bottle in the refrigerator. So it's easy to have that water bottle. When you open the fridge, you take a sip of water. Or, when you're going out to the car, it's already there. You can just grab it and go out to the car. So maybe getting in the habit of every night, making sure you have water in all those places would make it obvious and easy to do it. What would make it attractive? That's kind of up to you. I've sometimes found in the past, like, I don't drink water. This might sound a little silly, but like maybe I don't drink water out of a certain cup. But when I get a new water bottle, I'm kind of excited and I'll drink that much more water. Like maybe you drink more water with a straw. There are plenty of reusable straws because we want to kind of be kind to the environment, right? Like, so maybe you drink your water with a straw and you drink so much more, right? And it's more attractive to you. So think about habits that you want to make in that respect. How can I make it obvious? How can I make it attractive? How can I make it easy? And how can I make it satisfying? Satisfying. And I didn't mention this when I was just on Facebook, but he talks about the plateau of latent potential. And this is so me. Sometimes I think, it has been said that I think that when I start a new regime, like doing ab work or doing biceps, that 2 weeks in, I think I should have a 6-pack, or I think I should look like Popeye with my biceps. And then like sometimes you just give up. I'm like, well, forget it. Like I don't have abs. They're never going to come. Woe is me. Right. But what this says is basically, and I talk about this with weight loss all the time, the process isn't linear. Right. And the value is being stored, right? Until the efforts are revealed. So like my body is kind of storing up the muscles. And then one day I wake up and I have a muscle in my stomach. Like you can see the 6-pack, right? Or you see that a lot of times with people that have a successful business and you're like, oh, their success happened overnight. Well, no, it didn't happen overnight. They were working, and you just didn't see all the work until they succeeded. This also reminds me of a poster that I've seen so many times, and poster now it's like pictures on the internet and stuff of like a mountain peak, and it's like over the ocean. You just see this peak on the top of the water, right? And that's what you see. But if you looked under the water, it's this huge structure under the water. You just don't see it. Right? You don't see all of that. You just see what is on the surface. So it's basically know that you're storing up all of those good habits for the day that it becomes obvious, which if we want to look at the other side of that, that's kind of like eating a standard American diet, right? So you're eating foods and you're like, it doesn't bother me. Like I'm super healthy, and you eat them day in, day out, day in, day out. And you're like, no, I'm fine. My blood pressure is perfect. My cholesterol is perfect. And then all of a sudden you go to the doctor, you're 45 years old or you're 36 years old or whatever your age is. And all of a sudden you have hypertension or you have heart disease. And you're like, well, that just happened overnight. No, it didn't happen overnight. It was accumulation of your habits over all of those years. So it's all about creating momentum with your habits. And, another thing he says is, and I love this approach with all or nothing thinking. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to be 100% at something. You just have to do more good than bad. He talks about it's like winning an election. You don't need to have a landslide to win an election. You don't have to have all of the votes to win the election. You just need the majority of the votes. So if you think of every time that you're eating, you're voting. So what are you voting for? Are you voting for health or are you voting for disease? So that's one like nugget that I thought was just really, really great that he talks about. Another thing that he talks about that I love is how goals are super helpful, but you need to create a lifestyle system, right? So the thing with goals is they're all or nothing. They can be super problematic because you're like, I want to lose 50 pounds or 10 pounds, right? And let's say you lose 9 pounds and you've become super healthy. Well, you didn't lose 10. So you didn't reach your goal. So now in your brain, it's binary. It's like, I did, I didn't. So you're like, oh, I don't reach my goals. I failed at that. So it can like punish you even if you're reaching the desired result. Like maybe the desired result was to lose 10 pounds by being nutritarian and you're full on nutritarian. You just thought, that you would lose more weight than you did, or maybe you gained muscle, right? Like you made it down the pathway. You just didn't hit that number goal. So he talks about becoming the goal, 3 different things. So 3 layers of the behavior change. So for getting your goal, you have to change your outcome, right? So like what result that you want. You have to change your process, the habits in the system, and you have to change your identity. So, right, if you have the weight goal, right, that you're going after, you also want to have a change in your identity. So who will you become when you lose weight? Will you become someone who's healthy? So you have to tie that identity into it. So you want to make sure to kind of emulate somebody and think, okay, like what is the actual goal that I want and who do I become in the process? So then once you know that, every time you go to do an activity, you can ask yourself, would a financially secure person do this? Would a nutritarian do this? Would would a marathoner do this? Right? Because if your goal is to run a marathon, I've seen this happen. Like you decide, I'm going to run a marathon and you train, you run the marathon. And then what happens? After the marathon's done, you sit on the sofa for the next 6 months because you did your goal. You ran the marathon, right? Now, can you see the difference if you decided that you become a marathoner or you're going to become a runner? And in becoming a runner, you're going to run a marathon, right? And of course, you're going to change your habits. Every day, you're going to go for a run instead of, watching TV, whatever your habit change is. Then when you reach your goal and you do the marathon, you're continuing because now you've become a runner. So it's so important to tie that identity piece in. And he talks about that. And that is really a huge takeaway. So if there was one takeaway, there are many takeaways that I'd love you to take away. But if there was one thing for this evening, it would be to tie an identity into whatever habit that you want to change so that you have a kind of a purpose behind it. Tell me what questions you have. I want to make sure I'm answering questions. We are doing the Atomic Habits book, and you don't have to have read it. If you have a question about habit making, let me know what that is. We're going over the first half tonight of the book, and then we will go over the second half in 2021 next year. And I just think it's so important to continue to flood your mind with positive stuff to help you reach your goals. And so if you're watching this on replay, like I said before, leave me your comments and questions. I'll make sure to answer them there. And always make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you get told when the videos come out, and make sure to like it as well. So, one example that he had, which I thought was very interesting, and we could say a nutritarian, right? But he said vegans, science shows that vegans are far more consistent in their diet than those on keto, paleo, or the Whole30. Not because the vegan diet's easier, but because they've created an identity for themselves. So the identity is that they're vegan. So you can kind of say the same a little bit for nutritarian, right? The nutritarian lifestyle, you create an identity so it's easier to stick with. There are other people who are nutritarian. You read nutritarian books, you eat like a nutritarian, like all of those facets. So super interesting, I think. So like if you go to the refrigerator and you open it and there's cake, like right now, tomorrow is my son's 12th birthday, and he is inside and he is baking a cake for his birthday. And it's not nutritarian, just so you know. So if that cake was front and center in my refrigerator and I open my refrigerator I could just simply ask myself, would a healthy person eat this? Then I have my answer, right? It just kind of helps keep you on track with who you want to be, who your identity is. And you can choose someone. Like if you think, if you watch Cheri all the time on the Watering Mouth channel, open your fridge and think like, would Cheri eat this? Or, you can say, hey, would Karen eat this? Right. And ask yourself, would I eat that? Would Cheri eat that? And then you're like, nah, I don't think she would. And it's like, okay, well, that's kind of my path. I want to identify with a nutritarian. I want to identify with someone who eats whole food, plant-based. And that helps you make your choice. So make sure to ask yourself, what type of person do you want to embody? And you can go ahead and comment and let me know, what is the person that you want to embody? And who are specific people that that you want to emulate, so that you kind of have like your own mentor in creating this habit. So, and like I said before, I have notes, so I make sure I tell you everything. The goal isn't to be perfect with your identity, it's to win the majority. So it's to win the majority of votes. So you don't have to be perfect, right? But you want to have more votes in favor of the identity that you're after. Dr. Furman talks about becoming a more brave, committed person and not just fitting in with social norms. Yeah. And right, I mean, I don't know. I know you're in Australia, but like, do you really want to be the social norm in the United States? Because the norm here in the United States is to be obese, to have heart disease, and to have hypertension. So sometimes it's not about fitting in, right? Sometimes it's about standing out a little bit. He also talks about habit stacking. And habit stacking is really having helpful habits that come one right after the other, or having habits that you already have and stacking a habit that you want on top of it. So the first step in that is to really take a look at your current routine. So the current habits that you have. So you could spend a day doing that, or you write down everything you do, or maybe let me write down my morning routine, or what's my evening routine, and like maybe it's wake up, take a shower, get ready, make coffee, walk a dog every day. Get up, take a shower, get ready, make coffee or tea, and walk my dog. So if I want to create a new habit like meditation, I'm already doing those things every day. So I could just add meditation whenever I walk my dog. When I come in from walking my dog, I will meditate for 5 minutes. That's stacking the habit on top of it. So, but first you have to know what your habits are. And it's a really great way to know, like, are my habits helping me get towards my identity, closer or farther away from my identity? So once you write down all those habits, then write like a positive. He talks about writing a plus sign if it's a good habit, or a negative sign if it's one you think you want to change. So it's a visual on what habits that you have and how you can start stacking them. Oh, Maria says they also have the SAD diet. Yay, it's a standard Australian diet, which is just as bad. Okay, so see, we get to use the same acronym. Awesome. All right, so we have the habit scorecard, where you write all your habits down, and then you do the plus or minus to see if they're helping you get towards your identity or away from your identity. Always ask yourself, does this behavior help me become the type of person that I want to be? And then do your intention, like an implementation intention. So I will meditate. So whatever your habit is, on, insert your day, on weekdays at 9 a.m. in my bedroom, right? So you want to take the habit, write down what day, like when you're doing it, what time and place. So what that does is it takes it from something like, I'm going to start meditating, and really nails it down so you make a commitment. So use that form or something very similar. There's also making a SMART goal, specific, measurable, all of those things. And so this just kind of really narrows it down. He doesn't talk about SMART goals. He talks about these implementation intentions. The habit stacking. So after my current habit, I will do my new habit. So after I walk my dog, I will meditate. Or after I finish work for the day and close my computer, I will do 5 jumping jacks. Or after I take a shower, I will drink 8 ounces of water. So does that make sense? Plan, strategize, learn. He talks about that. Associate your habits with something you enjoy. So, having it come after something you enjoy or before something you enjoy is super great also, because you kind of can give yourself a little bit of a reward there as well. Starting a new habit, he says, should take less than 2 minutes. So if there's a new habit that you want, this goes to his like incremental change, right? That 1% benefit every day adds up to 30% over the year. So this is, or you get 37% better over the year. So what is that new habit that you want to do? So if you're like, I'm going to become a runner, maybe the new habit is to run for 2 minutes. So he's not saying like, I'm going to become a runner tomorrow, I'm running a 5K, right? You just break it down into something that's manageable. Or I'm going to become a reader this year, and this week I need to read Atomic Habits. No, it's every day this week I'm going to read 1 page of my book. So you just break it down into smaller steps so that you build up that habit. And one of the things he talks about is, sorry about that. I'd like just gave myself a paper cut with my book. One of the things he talks about is, where was I going with that? Okay, I'll go back to that because it totally slipped out of my mind from the paper cut. Make sure your rewards align with your identity, right? So if you're giving yourself a reward, like let's say that you are completely on the standard American diet and you want to start eating healthy, right? And you want to reward yourself every day with broccoli sprouts, right? Like that would not be a reward for you if you've never eaten broccoli in your life and you just started adding a couple of vegetables or 1 vegetable to your day, and then the reward being broccoli sprouts doesn't really make sense, right? So, but you are turning into a healthy person. So eating cotton candy also wouldn't make sense as your reward. So what is it, something that a healthy person would do that would be a great reward? So maybe that would be, going for a walk or reading 1 page or, trying to think of a reward that a healthy person would do. Taking, some self-care, taking a bath or, something along those lines. He was talking about habit change. I think it was this book where they were talking about somebody that, like, he must have been an engineer or somebody super mechanical, and he rigged his television to only play Netflix when he was going at a certain speed on his bicycle. So he couldn't watch Netflix at all unless he was biking at a certain speed. And if it slowed down, it would turn off. So that was his way of getting a new habit, the exercise, with watching Netflix. So watching Netflix, something that he was doing already, and the exercise was, the new habit. I thought that was quite funny. I'm trying to think if I wanted to tell you some of the quotes that he was talking about because I thought that they were really, really good. Oh, that's okay. Now I remember what I wanted to tell you earlier. So people ask me all the time, how long does it take to create a new habit? And what he talked about, which is so true, is that it's not the length of time, it's the number of times you do it, right? So it's not, how long do I have to, will it take me 3 months to get into the habit of going for a walk every day? Well, probably not if you're only going for a walk once every 2 weeks. But maybe if you did, if you did 60 walks, then it would be a habit. I'm just making up numbers. But so looking at it as quantity of times that you're doing the new habit instead of length of time. So the same thing with learning how to not respond to the desire to eat a food, a junk food, to eat a snack that you don't want to be eating that's not nutritarian. So how many times can you let yourself feel that desire without taking action? That's far more important to making that habit last than like doing it for a certain length of time, weeks, days, months. So I did think that was super, super important to point out. So one of the quotes he says is, behind every action is a belief. So look at your actions and look at the beliefs. And this is something that we teach, or I always teach with my clients as well. Your thoughts create your feelings drive your actions, right? So a belief is just a thought that you've repeated over and over until it's completely true in your mind. And the belief, right, comes from that, or I mean, the action comes from that belief. Oh, this is interesting. We don't choose our earliest habits, we imitate them. So a lot of us have habits that we've seen and imitated from our families from growing up. So, you know, we have some programming sometimes that we need to become aware of, number one, and then work to change. Positive emotions cultivate habits, negative emotions destroy them. This is so important, okay? So deciding that you want to become a healthier person and lose weight because you think you're disgusting is not a positive emotion, right? If you're always like, I am disgusting, I need to lose weight. That's not going to get you, right? That's the negative emotion. That's going to destroy the habit. If it's a positive emotion, like, I want to get healthy because in my mind, I want to be vibrant for my grandkids when I get older, or when they get older, right? That's more of a positive emotion. So really check in on what your intentions are behind the new habit that you want to cultivate. He says, genes don't determine your destiny. They determine your area of opportunity, right? So genetically, you may have a predisposition to heart disease. So that's not your destiny to have heart disease. It's an opportunity to take a look at, okay, this is where I'm prone to go. How can I create a different path? What can I do health-wise for myself? It is better to do less than you hope than to do nothing at all. Yes, yes, yes. He also says missing a habit once is no big deal, but don't miss it twice, right? So if one day you don't want to go for a walk because it's raining, no harm, no foul. But the next day, if it's raining, put on those shoes and the raincoat and the umbrella, or however you go in the rain, and do the 2-minute walk, because you don't want to start getting out of that habit. And the habit tracker, I think I mentioned it to you all, is every single day, make an X on your calendar. He kind of does it. He has one that's downloadable. If you buy the book, he sends it to you. You just go to his website and you can find it. And his almost looks like a spreadsheet. So you write like the habit, and then it has like, 1 through 31 for the month. And then you make an X on every day that you do the habit. It's a visual representation of the follow through that you have. And the more X's that you have, right, you're winning the majority. And when you win the majority, you're that much closer to your habit. So, are there any questions? You all are pretty quiet tonight. If you have questions, put them in here. Like I said, this is the first half of the book. I went through to, which one did I go to? I think the first law. So he talks about the first law is make it obvious, and the second law is make it attractive. So those are the two that I went over. He talked about, the best way to start a new habit, and that's in tiny incremental steps. And motivation is overrated. The environment matters more, right? That's maybe having that fresh fruit on the countertop, making the water bottle in the refrigerator. Maybe it's putting your snack food, your junk food in a basket in the pantry so that you don't look at it every time you open the doors to the pantry. Make that habit irresistible, like get creative. How can you make that habit awesome and fun? And, I think that this is a great, great book for this time of year, especially with all of the New Year's resolutions. But I think any time that we can learn about habit changing, and I just love how he talks about it being just tiny changes. You don't have to get overwhelmed. You don't have to, bite off this huge piece, this huge activity. You can just do these tiny changes to help you reach your goals, and they just snowball on each other. So it has been my pleasure. Once again, I am Coach Karen with The Watering Mouth. For our book club this month on Atomic Habits, we will be meeting for the second part of the book in 2021, next year. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and a wonderful new year. Take care.